Before we let you go, though, I wanted to actually come back to Tesla and just have you respond to this Wells Fargo note today, questioning, obviously, significant discounts, profit per car coming way down, and their price target at Wells now, I think, 125.
Yeah, we strongly disagree with him. Obviously, we respect the analysts and the call, but I think right now, overly negatively discounted in terms of the Tesla story. Look, near term, clearly units are going to be soft for 1Q. Just getting back from the region, I believe price cuts are now starting to subside in China. That's important. I think when you look through the next 6-9 months, we're going to look at this as more of a golden buying opportunity for Tesla over the next 2-3 years, especially with AI, rather than time to throw in the white towel. But for now, we all know, I mean, the New York City cab driver is bearish on Tesla here.
Dan has some classic calls now. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the future, but odds are Dan's comments are probably going to age pretty well in terms of 2-3 years from now. Looking back, this is probably going to have been a golden buying opportunity. But again, you never know. We've seen Tesla stock go absolutely nowhere for more than half a decade historically, and this is entirely unscientific. But my gut feel is we're approaching peak fear. A lot of people throwing in the white towel. Name some names here. Gary Black dumping a bunch of Tesla in his fund. The man, Jordan, of the limiting factor, once referred to as sentient hair gel, also dumping Tesla stock. Actually, I'm noticing a pattern. People who manage money for others, even YouTubers, currently dumping Tesla stock. Now, don't get me wrong. This could be a profitable short-term trade. Like I said, nobody knows what the future holds. However, personally, not a bet I would be attempting to make. Why? Well, as I've said a million times, my brain's nowhere near big enough to successfully trade in and out of stocks over short-term hunches. So I just continue to buy and hold with literally every spare cent. What do you guys think? 2 to 3 years from now, is Dan Ives going to be right? Will this have looked like an all-time buying opportunity with Tesla's market cap just over $500 billion? We're going to look back in 2026, 2027. Okay, it was what? $550 billion? That's it? By the way, pay attention, folks, especially if you've only been invested in Tesla for the last couple of years. This is quite a lesson in human psychology and sentiment. And I've got to say, it's pretty amazing to see Dan having planted a flag now and saying, look, fuck this. Instead of being blown by the winds of sentiment, he's really holding firm.
What does that mean? Sorry.
Everyone's bearish. The piling on's there. The bears are coming out of hibernation mode. I get it.
I see what you mean, yeah.
But we believe now is not time throwing the towel on Tesla and Apple. I think we see there 6-9 months now, stock's much higher.
Now, obviously, Dan's definitely going to be completely wrong because the competition's finally coming, so Tesla should be concerned. Case in point, just in, wannabe EV maker, well, that's a bit insulting, Fisker has just hired advisors to help with its potential bankruptcy filing, according to the Balls Deep Journal. I feel like somebody said this was going to happen and pointed out it wasn't the first time that a company using the name Fisker with the same CEO had filed for bankruptcy. Now, this is juicy. Again, you can't believe everything you read on the internet, but let's just pretend that we can. The Fisker CEO has also just put his own house up for rent. So it's a home in Los Angeles, apparently in the hills. Some nice spots out there, pretty conservative. Bit of a shithole if I'm being honest, right? I mean, geez, I wouldn't want to live there. What a trash home. So currently for rent for $125,000 a month, apparently. Now, I'm not going to say it's a red flag if the CEO of an unprofitable company trying to eventually ramp to profitability via scale, who are competing with Tesla, is renting a home whose annual rent well exceeds $1 million per year. I'm not suggesting that's a red flag, but I am suggesting that actually getting a company producing vehicles, electric vehicles, to scale, driving costs down enough to actually reach profitability is the kind of task that requires so much energy and focus. Few people would actually be able to enjoy living in such a wonderful home while doing so. You're more likely to be sleeping on the factory floor most nights of the week. Anyway, nice pad, by the way. Jokes aside, while we're on the subject of Tesla's so-called competition and profitability and actually making it, Ark Invest has some thoughts on Rivian and why what Tesla did was extremely easy and therefore everyone else can just press the magic catch up to Tesla button and everything's going to be fine. At least I think that's what they're going to say.
One thing I've always found fascinating in hearing you and Tasha talk about Tesla and Elon, and I think it's a quote by him, which is, the product is actually the factory. Do you think Rivian has understood that yet, or is there something going on when that there's more to the story here than just producing a good-looking car, which I think they have. I would agree with you. Not that it matters, but it's there is a larger story here, and producing vehicles at scale is extremely hard. That's why there aren't a lot of successful car companies. And I'm just wondering, from your opinion, do you think they do you think they understand this? Are they one of the companies you look at and say, they'll get there given, their approach?
Yeah, I think understanding it and executing it are different things. I think they've woken up to it, right? They've spent a huge amount of money. And I would even take a step further back. And this is kind of the big misunderstanding of people following Tesla in the early days. I think for a long time, there was this narrative, Tesla did it, so it will be easier for others to do it as well.
I think Sam misspoke. I don't think he correctly articulated. I think what he meant to say was a small brain narrative. Important distinction.
Whereas I actually think the opposite is true. And it's because Tesla did it, it's now actually harder for others to do. And, Tesla has low costs in its DNA, right? They've said they were close to bankruptcy on occasion, and that really drove lean manufacturing.
This is interesting to hear Sam saying many things that I've said very similarly in the past. Not only is it actually much harder now for companies to do what Tesla did, which Tesla themselves did the near impossible and made it look reasonable. Why? Because Tesla was not competing with Tesla and everyone else now is. But he literally used the term DNA, which I myself have said. Tesla's DNA, the company's DNA itself, is extremely lean and resourceful and efficient. It had to be. Rivian's already blown cumulatively more than double what Tesla did in a lifetime. Now, why might that be? Well, let's think about some examples here. How about sucking from the teat of Amazon with a gigantic order for many billions of dollars worth of vans in the early days? I mean, that doesn't hurt. If Amazon's throwing money at you, gives you a bit of a safety net. You don't have that same culture, that DNA of we must save every fraction of a penny or we'll be out of business. Lucid suffer from a similar problem, sucking from the Saudi wealth fund. This is actually a serious issue, right in the genetic code of each company. If you haven't needed to fight and scrap for every fraction of a cent, every fraction of a penny, geez, I'll tell you what, cumulatively, the waste, the lack of resourcefulness, the lack of efficiency really adds up. I mean, this is a cutthroat business. And again, these companies have to compete with Tesla. Tesla didn't have to compete with Tesla.
Rivian, on the other hand, came through the private side with lots of cash. And so they were not as conservative. And I think we see that with the kind of cost basis for their current products. And that's, that is hard to reverse. It's definitely a wake up call when you go public and then people start seeing it and, you can't spend $6 billion on a quarterly basis and make it there. And so, right, everyone said Tesla does this and it's easier to follow. Whereas in fact, what's happened is Tesla's done it and they've reached scale and now they're driving down costs. So you don't have this ability to come in at the high end and offer these products because Tesla's there offering lower cost, better performance products, which
Bro, Sam is just spitting facts right now. Again, I got to say it. Feel free to get butthurt. This is something that people with a small brain don't understand. I don't know how else to say it. You have to have a small brain not to get this, right? It's pretty simple. Tesla's dictating terms, right? They've got scale. They've got industry-leading profit margins. To compete with Tesla, to successfully ramp to production that's sufficient, to have economies of scale, to drive your cost down enough that you're actually making any money at all selling electric vehicles, and to do so in the same market at which Tesla is already at 2+ million units per year with industry-leading profit margins and the best technology, bar none, is significantly more difficult than what Tesla themselves did to get to their current position. Because, like I said, Tesla was not competing with Tesla. These other companies are. Sam's point is so accurate. You can't start at the super high end, the multi-$100,000, $150,000 product, and expect you're going to sell a few tens of thousands of these per year after some initial fanboys and fangirls have ordered. Because you look into the marketplace and go, hang on, I can get a Model S or an X for like under 6 figures. Far better performance, range, features, functionality, software, safer. Why the fuck would I, what? I have to buy the Tesla. I'm not that dumb. But when Tesla entered the marketplace, this was not the case. There were no other comparable vehicles, period. I mean, I really have to say, these EV startups and legacy automotive manufacturers are in a really tough situation. I'm just kidding, everything's going to be fine.
It makes it very hard to compete.
And my last question for you, Sam. Rivian has a partnership with Amazon. That's half statement, half question. I want to confirm that with you. Do you think they will have, and hopefully compliance lets us keep this in, but do you think they would have trouble coming to market and finding funding? Because it does feel like there is a bit of a success story here from at least a consumer standpoint. I feel like people get very excited about the Rivian launches. So my guess is, there are some very large companies out there, notably Amazon, maybe Apple, given their news that they're stepping out of the car business, that would consider, a heavy investment in Rivian. Do you think that's likely, or do you think this is, I guess my question is, could you see this getting gobbled up by one of the mega tech companies wanting to compete in the car space?
Now, before Sam answers, I'm going to give you my hot take. You'd have to be insane to be any company at all that even considers acquiring somebody like Rivian, or even worse, Lucid. The caveat there, unless of course you're already in the industry producing vehicles and just want a little bit of tech and some talent. But there's no one big enough scale to afford the acquisition, so that's out. Let me explain why. Rivian is currently a burning dumpster fire with some okay products, but they've yet to climb Mount Everest. For a company to decide, you know what, let's get into the extremely competitive EV industry, where Tesla already has a dominant, unassailable lead, industry-leading scale, costs, and technology, and let's try to do the impossible and spend billions of dollars acquiring a company to attempt to do the impossible and lose tens of billions of dollars attempting to do the impossible and almost certainly fail anyway. Fuck that. Maybe we'll just do some software or something instead, but fuck that. You have to be insane to even try to produce EVs. You have to be insane. Now, there was a time where you did not quite need to be as insane, but still pretty bonkers. That time was before Tesla had reached scale and before Chinese EV manufacturers had reached scale and marginal profitability. That time has long since passed now. You have to be insane. Surely the people at these companies like Apple, Google, etc. are not that fucking dumb. Actually, I take that all back. I literally take that all back. After we've seen the recent shitstorm with Gemini and all the insanity with Apple and Tim Cook being a little bitch and bending to the demands of their woke, insane employees, all bets are off. I think both of those companies are absolutely fucking insane. So I take it all back. That they're probably exactly going to do that. However, it would not be a rational decision. But rationality appears to be long since out the window at both Apple and Google and pretty much every large tech company on the planet.
Yeah, I don't know if necessarily a mega tech company. I think maybe there is even other companies that might want them. Who knows? I don't want to speak to future. Right. Got to be compliant here. It's like, I do think the market is open if they can demonstrate these cost reductions. To your point, right? It's like they make vehicles that people like, and that's step one. So the next key step is making products that consumers like that you can make profitably.
Yeah. Okay. That was a good, very compliant.
And to be clear, step one, make a product consumers like. Step 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and all the way up to step 500 quadrillion is actually scaling and doing them profitably. In other words, the first part's the easy part. Make a product people like. I mean, shit, not that hard. A small team could do that. But to climb Mount Everest, not so easy. And now, more Tesla FUD and or capitulation from analysts. Tesla stock downgraded at Wells Fargo.
As Tesla's getting hit with a big downgrade to underweight from equal weight over at Wells Fargo, citing numerous headwinds ahead. The firm expects volume to disappoint and also lowered its price target from $200 a share to $125. Here's the analyst who made that call, Colin Langan. Phil also on the line with us. Colin, welcome. Good to see you. I'm curious, what is the market share of Tesla in the U.S. Among total automobile sales, auto and truck sales, and among EV sales? What kind of share do they have?
I mean, they're very small into the overall market. I mean, they're very large in EVs. I mean, what we're seeing, and that was the point of our report today, is that we're actually looking at the impact of the price cuts are surprisingly low at this point. We saw volume actually, if you look at first half to second half globally, up just 3%, and pricing was down 5%. And that's really what driving our lower deliveries. We're expecting deliveries to be about flat this year. Because we're really expecting more limited ability to cut price. Otherwise, you're going to hit a point where you're not very profitable anymore. So
you cut price, you hope volume will increase, but you're not seeing the kind of volume increase that is commensurate with the price cuts. What about this Model 2 that they expect to bring out in 2025? Is it going to be a game changer, or is it too little too late here?
Well, I mean, I think that was the other part of our report today. We were looking at the potential for Model 2. I mean, and one of the things that really is concerning to me is that it's different from other launches. This is a mass market priced SUV. That's going to be very tough to do. I mean, the actual, if you go to an internal combustion engine, compact vehicle today, they're not very profitable. You add on an e-powertrain,
So I heard a very fearful word there describing his thoughts about the next gen vehicle. So certainly not easy to do. In fact, one might even go as far as to say it would require a revolution in manufacturing techniques to drive out enough cost to do so. Does anyone have any ideas how you might accomplish something like this? Maybe even a new manufacturing system, keyword modular, unveiled by Tesla themselves at last year's Investor Day, and everyone said, "Oh, disappointed, that was a computer rendering of the next gen vehicle." I mean, hello, that's the whole fucking point. Tesla's re-engineered the factory, the way the thing is built to drive costs down. I featured a teardown video a couple of weeks, maybe a month ago actually, maybe slightly more. Time flies when you're making daily content. Where this firm had reverse engineered approximately how Tesla was going to do this thing and expected they'd drive about 30% of the cost out of their next gen vehicle. That means a vehicle that, let's just say really roughly, was costing Tesla $35,000 to produce, even with like a 15% margin, they're selling it for about 40 grand, give or take, right? That's roughly where the Model Y is today, Model 3, Model Y, somewhere around that point. Same vehicle, $35,000. If you're producing something comparable, 30% less, which again, Tesla themselves expect to do, and others, engineers, manufacturing nerds have done the numbers. It's doable with a modular manufacturing system. Same vehicle could be produced for under $25,000, e.g. sold for well under 30 grand, call it 25,000 or so. I mean, I can understand if Tesla hadn't unveiled their new modular manufacturing system and literally detailed how they're going to drive the cost down on the next gen vehicle, you might be a little bit concerned. But they've nearly finished the manufacturing systems and they explained how they're going to drive the cost down. It's a new way of putting together a vehicle. And Tesla, if it was just some brand new company that had no runs on the board, no track record, different story. But Tesla has a consistent history of driving costs down through manufacturing innovations. Was this guy listening at Invest today and he doesn't think Tesla can pull it off?
Probably starting off at a losing point. And then if you're then really betting on this unboxed production, which is the new manufacturing methodology they plan on launching with the Model 2. That's a bit of a wild card. It's just never been done before.
Oh, thank fuck. At least he acknowledges the manufacturing system, the modular manufacturing system. But I mean, this is first principles thinking. It's physics, okay? Look, I get it, right? Maybe, just maybe, Tesla, despite having gone down to the atoms and worked their way up, done this from a first principles point of view, and again, teardown experts have recreated essentially a similar modular manufacturing system and gone, we're going to drive at least 30% of the cost out here. It's doable. Technically, they haven't done it yet. Therefore, well, it's unknown. But you've got to understand, Tesla approaches this from a physics point of view. And they have themselves said, last earnings, they've nearly finished the manufacturing systems. As in, almost all of the unsolved problems are solved. So call me crazy, but I wouldn't be particularly concerned about this. But then again, this would definitely be the first time Tesla's ever done anything that's hard or never been done before. So I can totally understand why he'd be a little bit worried. It's not like they've got a history of doing things that were never done before.
And we still estimate you need most of those benefits to come through to get this to profit levels that we're seeing on their current vehicles.
What does unboxed production mean? I noted it in your note, and I wasn't sure what it meant.
Yeah, I mean, it is a new term. No one has actually done it before. So the idea is it's a change in the entire assembly line. And from experts that we talk to, they're trying to eliminate all the bottlenecks, automate as much as possible. The vehicle won't run through one line. It'll actually be assembled in different subcomponents and then come together at the end. This enables, one of the potential benefits maybe is you could put more throughput through the paint shop, which is the bottleneck today. But also you probably could automate more along the line and eliminate some of the manual inputs. So it's supposed to improve your efficiency. What we found in our report is that, there's probably between labor and fixed costs that are absorbed per the vehicle, it's probably $9,000 to $10,000 per car. So if you could double that, there's like $4,000 to $5,000 in benefit. You really kind of need most of that benefit to get Model 2 to probably profitability given the powertrain costs you'll be adding.
Phil?
Hey, Colin, it's Phil LeBeau here. I'm curious, when you look at all of the headwinds, not just for Tesla, but for electric vehicles overall, what do you believe is the biggest one right now? Is it the fact that we're not seeing enough models at the lower price points that would drive sales? Is it the concerns about range adoption or range anxiety, charger anxiety that is out there? What do you think is the number one headwind?
I think number one has been pricing. I think it's, and And I think it's just the price. I also think we need sort of SUVs too. So I'm not sure a small vehicle actually necessarily addresses that for what Americans want. So I think one, people want more affordable EVs. And then two, it's always been charging. But the one thing we talk about in the industry, and one reason we're cautious on all of the Detroit 3 as well, so we're pretty cautious on the automakers right now, is the fact that there's still regulations coming. So the industry is going to be a really tough spot here because the automakers are going to need to sell more EVs to hit those standards, which means everyone's going to be forcing these vehicles into the market, which is never very good for profitability when that happens.
I mean, I don't want to call peak FUD, but I think we're pretty close to at least peak fear. Although between you and I, as I've said trillions of times, barely even exaggerating, I hope it continues. The cheaper Tesla stock, the better. I think Dan Ives' earlier comments are going to age like wine. Just to wrap up here today, I have to say, Tesla stock closing at essentially the perfect price. $169 per share. Nice. That equates to a market cap of just $531 billion. Spitting distance from its 52-week low of just over $150. Let's check back in 2 or 3 years and see how Dan Ives' comments have aged. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. It's an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. It certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point and something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy, wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1 shit, is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, snake oil salmon sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link at the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links at the pinned comment. See you over on Twitter and or Patreon, and don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.